All right, great. Well, once again, good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you for being on this webinar that we're doing this afternoon that I'm doing with Buck Risby. If you guys don't know who Buck Risby is, he's been online for a very, very long time, and he's been actually I've known you now, Buck. I think it's been about 5 years.
At least, yeah.
About five
Hmm.
years, and actually, I hadn't talked to Buck for like 3 years until recently when he started talking about what he's going to talk about later today. But Buck doesn't realize that I've actually been stalking him for the last 14, but the last maybe 12 to 14
The
months,
cease and desist is coming,
and
Gower.
and you'll kind of see why because. For those of you who have been on my list for any long time, you would know that one of the industries that I did get into in 2014 was the health and wellness industries. And one of the things that you definitely want to do when you go into a certain market is you want to see who the big players are, and you want to see who the players are who are doing it, who are doing it ethically, who are doing it right, because those are the guys who are going to be around for the long term. So one of the people that we were looking at, besides probably we're looking at about half a dozen companies, and one of them was Buck's company, Real Dose Nutrition. They've been in the health and wellness industry for some time. They're quite established, and they have a fairly well-known brand. In fact, many of you might have seen some of their banners running on the internet or even on Facebook. And his company was one of the companies that we wanted to model off of because what do? You model off of success.
Hmm.
And for those of you who are coming on to the webinar specifically to learn more about health supplement business. It's a huge, huge, massive industry. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. And it's only going to get larger as more and more studies come out talking about the adverse effects of drugs such as statin drugs that are supposedly supposed to lower your cholesterol. Does that really reverse heart disease? Well, no, because studies are now revealing that cholesterol might not really be the culprit when it comes to heart disease. And not only that, but these prescription drugs do cause a lot of different adverse side effects that people want to avoid. They want to go the more natural route, whether it's a change in their diet or with natural supplements, and that's why this market is dramatically getting traction. And if you remember from my email, one of the things that I did talk about was some of the top guys who are selling just on Amazon. I mean, just on Amazon alone, some of these guys who are in the first page of a particular keyword for a particular supplement are generating 2,500 to 3,000 sales a day just on Amazon for the supplements. And Amazon is just one distribution channel, but Buck, what he's going to talk about this afternoon is about growing a real long-term business. And the reason why I wanted to do this webinar is because this is not about chasing the next shiny object syndrome. This is about building a foundation in a billion-dollar industry that can bring you a great deal of rewards in the long term. Because not only are you adding value to customers, building a business or an asset for yourself, but you're also building something for the long term. So, Buck, I'm honored to have a guy who's been there, done that for the last, I think you've been in this industry for the last 8 years,
8 years, yeah.
to come onto this webinar. And the fact that, you're coming onto this webinar and you're revealing your steps of how you built your business just kind of shows how open-minded you are to the fact that you're not like, oh, I got to hide this stuff, because you know that the industry is big enough to have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different players. Because there's anything from weight loss products to detox products to cleanse products to blood pressure products. I mean, there's a huge market out there, and it's not only in the United States. There's an international market, Canadian market, the UK market, the Australian market. Who knows what other markets there possibly could be out there. So, I'm gracious that you're coming on here explaining how you took Real Dose from nothing to $10 million in 18 months. And I know that a lot of people on this call are really, really interested in knowing that.
Thanks, Gower. I really appreciate that. Just a quick tech check. Can you confirm that you can see my initial slide and you don't see my clock and other distractions on the screen?
Yeah, I can see the river and the waterfall from your backyard behind your house, right? It's nice and clear, so.
That's actually from a trip. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but that's actually here in Colorado. And but I'm really excited to have folks on the call. Thank you so much for joining us for the 8 figures in 18 months. The board game blueprint. I love that that concept of making things sort of step by step, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So why don't we take care of some of the formalities? Make sure that I got my... There we go. There is a disclaimer, and I would be remiss if I didn't cover this. Anything that I talk about today, although completely documented, is and authentic, is not to imply that you're going to make any money following in my footsteps. And I'm required to say this. So in fact, you won't earn anything because most folks don't take action. So I got to put that out there. I'll keep the FTC happy, and then we can move on. So probably the burning question in most people's minds right now is, why am I doing this? Buck, you've got an 8-figure business. You're having all the success. Why the heck would you talk about it? And there are a number of reasons, actually. And it's actually been the genesis of this is frustration on my part. First, because I've been in this business for a while. I've been in it for 8 years. I've seen a lot. There are a lot of hucksters out there. And I think Gahur would agree with me on this. There are a lot of companies, I was very pleasantly surprised to hear that Gahur and his partners are modeling Real Dose because we're doing it the right way, and people see us as a lighthouse of a business that is selling supplements online as the good guys, as the white knights. But unfortunately, there are a lot of folks that are taking advantage of the chaos in this industry and the sheer scale of this industry, and putting products out there that are low quality, using bad business practices and a number of other things that I'll get into. So that's one frustration that I have, and I think it creates an opportunity to educate people how to do it the right way. The other part of my frustration is that there are not enough quality companies that are making the right decisions, putting out the right products with the right ethical marketing systems that we would be willing to partner with. We have currently, at Real Dose Nutrition, we have 4 different products, and we're always adding more, but it takes time to put products through our very rigorous product development process. And we're always on the lookout for products that we can recommend to our customers that we don't produce. I can count on just a few fingers of one hand the number of companies that we are willing to recommend to our customers. And we do that. We do that on a regular basis. There are a few products that we feel good enough about that we will promote them on the back end. But not that many. And given the scale of the direct response industry, that's a real travesty. So the other part of what I would like to do in this process is that if I do put out education about how to do this the right way, I think there's an opportunity to help us drive the crud out. And going to go along with that, burnish this, the tarnished reputation of the online dietary supplement industry. There are a lot of supplements that are sold obviously through retail, but I'm specifically talking about online methods. So let's talk a bit about what I'm going to cover in this webinar. We're going to talk a lot about my baby, which is Real Dose Nutrition, and the specific steps that my partners and I went through to build Real Dose from scratch, as Gahur mentioned, literally bootstrapped the company and took it to over $10 million in less than 18 months. We are so proud of that fact. We talk to people in the investment or community, in the dietary supplement space, in the direct response space. Everyone comes to us and says, do you guys realize what you did? I mean, this is just unheard of. I mean, normally this type of thing would take 3 years, 5 years, 7 years to achieve the level that you have in this short period of time. So I'll talk specifically about the steps we went through. And I have an 11-point blueprint, that board game blueprint that I talked about before. I'm going to zero in on some things as well. So speaking of zeroing in, there will be specific coverage of key areas, because there's so much that we did, to launch the business and get it going and have it be successful. But there are some major takeaways that I really want to focus on and have. I would highly recommend that you have a pen and paper ready to take some notes and write those things down. In addition to that, there are several questions that we've been getting, that I've been getting over the years, but most specifically as I started providing this kind of training, is I want to make sure that your questions are answered, and I have been getting some feedback that we will cover on the on the call. And if we have time at the end of the call, we'll have a Q&A session and make sure everyone's questions are answered. So without further ado, let me just say I'd like to extend a gift to you. You're here on the call with me. I'm really excited about the number of people we have on the call, which is great. And as my gift to you, I used to run in addition to a supplement company, I ran one of the top or the top dietary supplement business newsletters called Health Business Confidential. And it was a very exclusive newsletter, very expensive, and for you to become a member, one of the things that we provided was an ebook on how to write $1 million marketing copy for health products. So my gift to you is to give you that ebook. It's a 93-page ebook. I have a $97 value on that, and if you stick with me to the end of the webinar, I'm going to provide you with download instructions to get a copy for yourself, because it's not available on Kindle. It's not available anywhere else. It's just available here this afternoon for you. So first things first, please take a moment. I know we are in a ADD, ADHD society right now. If you don't need a browser for what you're doing to watch the webinar, close your browser, shut down Facebook, put your Skype and your iMessage and everything else onto Do Not Disturb. I know your phone has that Do Not Disturb feature. Take advantage of that. Put your phone on vibrate as well, and grab a pen and paper. You really do not want to be distracted, because it's going to allow you to focus and really digest and take in the information that I'm going to share with you. That if I had this 8 years ago when I started the business, I don't know where I would be. I wish I had the kind of mentor that I could potentially be for you available to me 8 years ago. So let me kick this off with a story. And I call this my tale of two acquaintances. They're two guys that I know, and they're both good guys. I like them both personally, but they have two very different philosophies in life. Well, specifically when it comes to business. I'll call friend one my friend who treats customers as friends, and friend two, on the other hand, he kind of sees customers as marks. And by marks, I mean people that you could potentially take advantage of or try to get as much money from, not really thinking of how can I serve them, but how can I take from them. Friend one, when it comes to promoting his product, he might he actually cares deeply about the kind of testimonials and making sure that the testimonials are accurate and are verified. Friend two is sort of like, is going to take the shortcuts. He'll have what I call ringer testimonials, and unfortunately, in the dietary supplement space, in the weight loss space, people will do there are professional testimonials where people will actually the after photo is the before photo, and vice versa, where they've actually gained weight to take the before photo. So fake testimonials, not the way most of us would like to do business. Friend one, very transparent with his business practices and legalese and the business processes that he uses. Friend two, I call him Mr. Fine Print or Mr. No Print. So you really don't know what you're getting into when you go into business with him. Friend one always makes health claims that are backed by scientific research, very importantly, backed by human clinical research. Friend two, well, he could spin a good yarn. He can talk about stories about these ingredients and how they might have been used by, African tribesmen 1,000 years ago or what have you, but not necessarily backing up the claims with science. Friend one, the ad networks, the Googles, the Facebooks, the other networks of the world, they welcome him with open arms because of the kind of business that he represents. Friend two, shunned by the ad networks, has very difficult time staying, if he does get on, staying on those networks, and has to go elsewhere to look for advertising opportunities. Friend one has a respected online dietary supplement company. Friend two, so he has a respected business. Friend two burns through businesses, and by that I mean he doesn't have a brand, a sustainable long-term brand that's out there for a long period. Basically, the businesses get shut down. He starts it under a new name, and again, the cycle repeats itself. So I kind of call this, as you can probably tell here, there are aspects of winners and aspects of losers in the online dietary supplement business. And I'm going to really focus on what traits and what things that you need to do to be in the winner column. And that's going to be our focus for today. So let me talk just a bit about my story because I think it's important and relative to the journey of how I got to where I am in the dietary supplement space. My background is I'm not a health practitioner. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any health credentials, but I did spend 21 years in the corporate rat race. So I kind of been there, done that, and had the T-shirt. As part of that, I've got the badge of commuting for an hour and a half each way, or 2 or more hours in rush hour traffic for years. I was a road warrior, literally living out of a suitcase, eating junk food every day during the week, and being away from my wife and kids night after night. And then I got a little problem occurred in my life. I was in debt up to my eyeballs. I was living the quote-unquote American dream, where I had that nice house, I had the new car, but I was literally living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to keep on top of things. And I got the wake-up call. I'm a vice president at a software company with a big salary, and I get laid off when my wife was 7 months pregnant with my son Lucas. That was a tough conversation to have with my pregnant wife Diva, let me tell you. And I made a fateful decision. I said, never again. I'm not going to allow anyone to have that kind of control over my life. And that was a very, very powerful moment for me, as you can tell. I had always dreamed of having my own business, but all these vehicles that I tried had flopped. I tried network marketing. I tried real estate investing. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on education in these areas. I did private consulting for companies, and I had a fateful time where I decided to invest $4,000 into an internet marketing conference. I'm very glad that I did it for a number of reasons. One was the education, the other was the networking opportunities, and I kind of had shortly thereafter a eureka moment where I realized that there's a formula here that I could follow, and that formula was in-demand health products combined with ethical online marketing could equal success. I felt that formula would work for me. I had a strong belief already. I was already a dietary supplement user and believer in dietary supplements, and I wanted to leverage online direct response methods to promote those products ethically. So I spent the next 8 months and I researched and I spent money hiring consultants and copywriters and consulting with manufacturers and formulators and packaging experts and design experts. And I went through the full gamut of what I would need to launch my own dietary supplement product. And it was very expensive and it took a lot of time. But the end result of that was that in April of 2006, I started selling my product online. I did this while I was still working. I had gotten a new job. I was still working a day job, and I was literally the customer support line and the email all came to me if people had questions. So I would answer the phone, answer questions real quick as I was trying to get my day job done, and the first few sales started to ring in April of 2006. My first product ship. By 6 months later, by October 2006, my business income exceeded my executive salary in terms of my net income. And because I was making $150,000 as a vice president at another software company, but I was able to exit that corporate rat race forever as a result of launching my dietary supplement company. So fast forward to April 2011, I've joined forces with 2 other business partners. We launch a new supplement company, Real Dose Nutrition, and because of that buildup of knowledge and experience and confidence, we're able to get that from bootstrap to $10 million in sales in less than 18 months. And that's why you guys are here, because of that story, that powerful story. But beyond that, we literally just 2 weeks ago, we had another major milestone at Real Dose. And we have helped over 300,000 customers around the world. And as Gauher mentioned, there are opportunities to do this business globally. We're a global company. We're based in the US, but we ship to Canada, where Gauher is. We ship to UK. We ship to South Africa, to Australia, to New Zealand, and other parts of Europe. And we're very proud that we do that because we're able to help customers globally, and we have amazing success stories from around the world. So my life now is that I live in beautiful, this is a picture of the Flatirons in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. I live in Boulder, and I feel that it's one of the most beautiful parts of the country. And I'm able to, in fact, I have my kids here for Thanksgiving week. I've got my older boy, he's 24. He's in from Baltimore. My daughter's coming in for Thanksgiving. So we're going to have a full house of 4 kids and 2 adults. But I'm able to take my 2 younger kids, who are 5 and 11, to school every morning. I eat dinner with them every evening with the family. I tuck them in every night. I read books to my daughter, who's 5, every night. I can eat a leisurely breakfast with my wife after I drop the kids off at school. I'm able to literally have a 60-second commute. I work. I love working because my work is my passion. But this is a picture of my wife Diva and I, and behind us is a beautiful scene of an island off the coast of Norway called Fleur and Fure, and I know I'm mispronouncing that. But I literally am able to go to Europe and live for months at a time. In fact, this past summer we were there for a couple months and take second honeymoons with my wife. We leave the kids with the grandparents, and we headed off to Norway this year and had a great time in Stavanger, Norway, one of the most expensive places in the world because they're an oil-rich country. But just a fantastic, wonderful time. And I'm able to do that because of my dietary supplement company. In fact, it's 100% internet-based. It's virtually staffed, and I can manage it from anywhere in the world. Now, I do have business partners, and they help out too. But literally, one partner is here with me in Boulder, another partner is in New York City, and our staff is literally distributed around the world. So we're going to cover the high-level board game blueprint that enabled us to put the business together. And I talked about this. I don't know if you saw one of the versions of the registration page that I put together, but this was included on that registration page. This is my, if you're a parent, you probably have heard of the game called Candyland, and I kind of modeled it after Candyland. And the reason some of you might be smiling, chime in here on the Q&A if you guys have heard of Candyland. But it's a great game because, for parents anyway, it's really easy. You just pick your piece, you roll the dice, and you don't. There's not a lot of thinking involved, right? So it's not a big deal to play with your kids. But the idea here is that you move through the steps, and at the end of which you have a party, and I had the Dora version, so I called it the Fiesta here at the end. So it's an 11-point blueprint. We'll go through it. We'll go through it rapidly and kind of dive into a couple of areas that I think are most important. First, before I do that though, if you guys could chime in real quick and let me know, can you guys hear me? Can you see my screen? Can you guys see what's going on here? Just give me a yes. All good. Thanks, Bob. Okay. Carol, yes. Graham, Tony, Mark, great. Excellent. Thank you, guys. So, wow. Okay, good. A lot more folks have joined the line here. So first step is to know what market you're going to get into, and then what specific product you want to address to promote to that market. And so we specifically spent a lot of time in deciding which market we're entering. A lot of people, as you can imagine, because it's such a large market, unfortunately, is the weight loss market. And so we decided to start with that market, but that's not to say that's the only large market that you can get into. So we made a conscious decision because of our previous experience in the space to get into the weight loss market, which is fine. But there are a lot of different ways to do that. And so one key point that I'll share with you that is a writer downer. So make sure you have your pen and paper with you. Is that if you're going to go after a market, you want to make sure that the market is vast. In the case of diet and weight loss, it's a multi-billion-dollar market. Number 2, you want to make sure that a lot of companies are in the market selling products to those customers. In other words, there's a lot of competition, which is counterintuitive because you might think, well, gee, there's a lot of people in diet. Maybe I shouldn't go into that. Well, the fact that there are a lot of companies selling into the diet market is sorry, my daughter is, honey, close that door. Close the door. The fact that folks, this is great. My daughter's coming in to join us for the webinar. The fact that there's a lot of people coming, selling into that market is a good thing. That's what you're looking for. In fact, when I got into my first business in the dietary supplement space, I was able to verify that there was not one, but two companies that were already selling 8 figures a year into that market. So very, very important is look for competition, look for multiple competitors that are being successful. Number two is you want to set up your virtual team. And I prefer to have a virtual team. I learned that hard lesson when we moved here to Boulder because we thought, gee, we're going to start build an office here, have everyone working locally under one roof. But we really found that as the founders and the managers of the company, that we prefer to operate virtually. I like having my 60-second commute and not having to go into an office every morning. I did that for 21 years. I don't need that. I don't need to continue doing that, and I love the freedom that provides me. So we set up our company so that we have the technology, which I'll talk about in just a moment. We have the communication systems, and we have the system procedures so that we can recruit, train, and manage a virtual team. And we have call center people that are in the U.S. We have that are work from home moms. We have support people, which I'll talk about in a minute, that are elsewhere in the world, and then the rest of the team for various functions such as web development, video editing, management functions, marketing management, media buying. All of those are spread out throughout the country, and we're all connected using platforms such as Google Hangouts, Google Applications, and some other technology that we take advantage of. So that's the beauty of this business is, number one, you can run it with a virtual team with very low cost or in some cases free technology. And number two is that the cost of doing this nowadays is lower than it's ever been. And the ability to recruit virtual staff from very high quality virtual staff from places like the Philippines is just amazing. You can recruit virtual staff for literally 1/10 the cost of U.S. resources. So the next step is the formulation and the manufacturing, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit further. There are companies or contract manufacturers, and there's a lot of them out there, that will say, "Hey, I've got an off-the-shelf formula, or I can put together a formula for you. What do you want? You want some Garcinia? You want some green coffee? Whatever the Dr. Oz flavor of the week is," and that's probably absolutely the wrong way to go about it. I know a lot of folks are, maybe involved in selling products or trying to sell products on Amazon, and all they can think about is just how can I sell product in Amazon, as opposed to how can I formulate a differentiated product, something that is unique. And I'm going to drill into this a little bit further in another section. But one key point that I'm going to make here is that you want to select ingredients that are backed by human clinical studies, and you want to make sure that you put the right dosage of those ingredients in your formulas, and you source the ingredients from the same sources as what was used in the studies. Please follow. That is our mantra at Real Dose, and I'm sharing that with you. So because that is one of the major drivers of our success, I'm going to ask you to do the same. So make sure you write that down of how I can create a successful company, and I'll have some additional points for you in just a moment. And there are quality manufacturers out there that can put products together. Typically, you want to go with companies that have that are doing larger runs for bigger companies, and have the quality control procedures in place, not the fly-by-night operation. So very, very, very important there. From a technology standpoint, 8 years later, after I first started this, back then I had some tech skills, so I was able to kind of do some of the tech myself. Today, you guys are in such a much better position than I ever was, because all the platforms now are software as service. You just sign up for them, you pay as you go, and you can do everything from your CRM system, your shopping cart, your email follow-up systems, your customer support systems, and your fulfillment systems are all in the cloud. Everything is there, everything is paid by the drink, and it's much of it is already integrated. In fact, you have some one-stop shop solutions such as Entreport. I'm going to give you a couple names, so please write these down. Entreport and Infusionsoft that give you one-stop shop solutions that you can run your entire business on. So that, for example, I used a product called Lead Pages to generate the page that you use to register for this webinar. We're using GoToWebinar, which is another software service, to deliver this webinar to you. And for the back-end system to do some email follow-up with you, I'm using Infusionsoft. So, and my Real Dose uses Entreport. So there are a lot of great technologies out there that make it really easy for you to get going and do it at a very low cost, startup-wise, and not require a lot of tech folks in your corral, because web technology, web developers can be very expensive, and obviously you want to keep your startup costs very, very low. The essential theme that you're going to hear as I go through this is that do this bootstrap, keep your costs low, and then build on your success and ramp it from there. And that's exactly what we did when we went from 0 to 10 million. So the next step in the process is, are your internet marketing systems. And by that, I mean the sales funnels that you're going to send traffic to and have people get acquainted with your product. And often for us, these are videos that we've recorded, but there can be simple Camtasia videos, a recording of a PowerPoint slide or a keynote slide that takes them through, the story of the product, why the product is differentiated, and what are the ingredients that you put in the product, why those are backed by human clinical studies, and what they can do for people, and so on and so forth. And then put them through a progression so that customers can find out more about, encourage your customers to find out more about you, why you're doing these things, and allow them to have, kind of follow their process of discovery, education, and then eventually buying from you. So that's what a good internet marketing system does. And again, you can build it on those, those software service technologies that I talked about, such as Entreport, Infusionsoft, and some others. And once you have that in place, before you go and start promoting it, this question comes up a lot: is how can I make sure that I don't get into trouble? And so we do have outside. Number one, we have a philosophy of we never make any claims that we can't back with scientific research. So all of our ingredients are backed by human clinical studies. It makes our lives a lot easier. If you remember that story about the friend who is, or the acquaintance who is in a loser column that goes and tells outrageous stories rather than backs everything up, you want to be on the back everything up column, right? You want to be on the winner column. So make sure that you're making substantiated is the word health claims. Number one, that's one way to protect yourself. The other is there's actually very low cost outside counsel, and we have a counsel that we consult with to review our labels. In fact, our manufacturers will review our labels for free as part of working with them in terms of compliance and reviewing our ads and our marketing messages, and just making sure that we're doing things the right way so that we are impervious to both regulatory and civil action that could be taken against us. And so, knock on wood, we've never had a problem, but we're ready, and we have the protection, we have the documentation in place to prepare ourselves for something like that. Getting back to, the previous question, sometimes the question comes up, do you need to have insurance? And yes, in fact, the manufacturers will provide insurance for you for the ingredients and the product, the end product that they're making for you. And then you also should get product liability insurance, which the cost of which has come down substantially over the years because of the great track record that's been out there in the dietary supplement space. So the next step here is what I would call delivery. Hey, let's put it into the customer's hands. What's the best way to do that to have the customer be happy? And this is where you do not want to skimp. Unfortunately, guys like that acquaintance on the loser column I talked about earlier will, it's all about how can I get it done the cheapest? Should I send it? Should I maybe send it USPS instead of UPS? Maybe it'll take a day or two longer to get there, but I can save a lot of money. That's not the way to think about this. So it's going to be, yes, you want to do it at a low cost, but you want to have a very reliable, and the beauty is there are a number of outsourced fulfillment centers that will warehouse your product. You do not need to warehouse product in your basement or your garage. They'll warehouse the product very inexpensively. and they'll pick, pack, and ship the product for you on a per order basis, so that it's very low cost. We allocate. I'm going to share a number with you. We allocate approximately 7% of revenue for the fulfillment, and that includes the delivery to the customer, the shipping charges. So that's the warehousing, pick, pack, and shipping to a customer. It's about $7 out of every $100 in revenue. Your mileage is going to vary based on the type of product that you're selling, but that's probably a good figure to start with. And there are great companies that have, again, software as service interfaces to their fulfillment center. So they'll tell you, you transfer the order to them electronically to their system. They fulfill it. They have the database on record. You can check it all the time, and they're also updating inventory counts, so you know exactly how much product you have in the warehouse. Beautiful thing. And this is another area where you do not want to skimp. And a couple points that I want you to write down here. Customer care is not a cost center. For a lot of people, they believe that customer care is a necessary evil, and I'm going to try to do it at the lowest cost possible. And I'm all for saving money. But this is an area, and one of the reasons why we've had such success at Real Does Nutrition is that we've made a concerted effort to invest in a world-class care operation. In fact, we've modeled Real Does after companies like Apple and Zappos, because we feel that Apple provides a great experience for the customers. Yes, they have world-class products, but they also wrap it with a great experience. You walk into an Apple store, you get help at the Genius Bar, you feel like you're part of a club that they're taking, they've opened the velvet rope, they've let you in, and they're taking really good care of you. And it's why people like a high-end experience. So we invest very economically, though. We invest in stay-at-home moms that have backgrounds in health, nutrition. Many of them are fitness instructors that are answering questions and answering the phone calls and taking orders by phone from our customers. That's number one. And you can do that very inexpensively using technology and hiring part-time staff to do that. The other thing is that we also provide chat, online chat, and email support. And much of that is fulfilled or serviced out of the Philippines. And we have great English-speaking, highly educated folks in the Philippines that are doing chat and email for us support as I said, 1/10 the cost. I think one person asked me, what's the typical rate that you would pay for a Filipino customer care agent? And I want to say the number is in the $500 to $600 a month range. And after you pick yourself up off the floor, it is an amazing thing if you know where to go, if you know where to find these people, how to put out the right message to them to attract the best folks and put them through a recruiting process so that you have someone that's reliable, loyal, and does a great job. And there are ways to do that. But just to let you know that Filipino resources are just amazing. And in fact, I've got my right-hand man, Mark Chan, on the line with us right now, and I could not run my business without him. I have a whole team that just takes care of me and the things that I'm doing. So highly, highly recommended. Something I did not have 8 years ago. I mean, I could go and retain maybe somebody in India, and it was very difficult. The rates were higher, and the technology systems were not in place to kind of communicate with them. Now it's a whole new world. So once you have the support thing in place, you're ready to do what I call, you're ready to start testing some traffic. And most people like to jump to this step. It's the folks that, as I mentioned earlier, the folks that say, hey, I want to sell on Amazon. Well, Amazon is a channel, right? And the worst thing that you can do, in fact, everything that I've just shown you and talked about in terms of building a business from 0 to 10 million was done outside of Amazon.com. We sell very little product on Amazon because our focus is we want to have a business that we can scale, we can buy media for, and we can control the message, and we're not beholden to one sales channel or another. And if you build a business that is solely dependent upon a sales channel such as Amazon, where you don't get to write the rules, and they write all the rules, that's a very, very tough place to be. So that's the reason why I say this step comes a bit later. And you can start with, and as Gauher is an expert when it comes to pay-per-click traffic, he'll tell you that you start with things such as Yahoo Bing, and you start to experiment with some targeted traffic on Yahoo, maybe then move to Google, and then you can expand to things such as Facebook, and then go beyond that. And there's so many different traffic opportunities that are available online outside of the big three, Facebook, Google, and Bing. But now, yes, excuse me, Amazon is an opportunity, and we do have our products on Amazon, but we don't treat it as if it's the only thing. And I highly, highly recommend that you do the same. So once you have the traffic flowing, you're starting to optimize your front end and acquiring customers. This is what I would call, this is where we put a lot of effort. It's what I call the promised land. And if you've done things the right way, and by the right way I mean quality products backed by human clinical studies with ethical marketing systems that have been tested and optimized in a small way and then started to scale, that you have the opportunity to sell more product to your existing installed base. And this is the beauty of doing it the right way. It's like, I use the Zappos story all the time about my wife. My wife loves buying shoes from Zappos. When she first bought shoes from there, they gave her such a great experience, and they gave her the upgraded shipping, and they got it there the next day, and she didn't even pay for that. And she fell in love. Well, in the box was a return slip. And she tried on the shoes. They didn't fit. She immediately returned them. They said, no problem. And the shoes got back there. She got the new shoes that fit her. She was happy. If you look at a supplement business and how they might approach it, some of these, the guys in the loser column that I talked about before, they'll focus their time and energy on how can they save the sale? How can I, keep that customer's money? They're not thinking, well, let me take care of the customer, refund them, or do whatever they need so that the next time I present something to them, they're going to buy from me again and again. And that's our attitude, is that every time a customer has maybe a not so great experience, we fall over ourselves to make sure they're taken care of, they get refunded immediately. It's not about save the sale. In fact, our agents are not paid to run these kind of phony scripts where they're trying to cling to the money and do tug of war with the customer over the money. We allow the agents to stay on the phone with the customer or whatever time they need to communicate and make sure the customer's taken care of. And we get, as a result of that, testimonials left and right from customers saying, oh, you guys were great. You took care of me. Yeah, this product didn't work out for me. But you know what? I'm going to try, maybe the diet product didn't work, but I'm going to try your fish oil. Or I'm going to try your protein powder. And that happens again and again and again. And that's the Zappos way. That's the Apple way. And that's the way that I would write these points down, is that you really want to focus on the customer experience. So that enables us that as we add new products to our mix, every time we send out an email to our customers, they try them. And every time we send out a promotional, we try not to do it too often, but every time we send a discount coupon as a customer appreciation special, for example, or for Black Friday that's coming up, customers buy with both hands. We have some of our biggest sales days ever. So I can't tell you the number of supplement businesses that are out there where the customers will refuse to buy from them after the initial sale because they've had such a bad experience. These are the guys that do the forced continuity up front. They are executing these strange business practices where they're trying to hang on to the money and make it very difficult for the customer to reach customer care to begin with. None of that. We have an 800 number. We have online customer care doing online chat during normal business hours, and we have email support that we measure ourselves. Here's a big one, and this also goes back to customer support systems. We measure ourselves, we benchmark ourselves in terms of how well we're doing. We measure and I look at these reports every week, how long it takes for us to answer a phone call, how long it takes for us to reply to an email. And we also ask, this is something you want to write down. We ask what's called the ultimate question. If you haven't heard of this, there's a great book called The Ultimate Question. The ultimate question is simple. It's, you ask your customer after the sale and they've had a chance to experience the product, what is the likelihood that you would recommend Real Dose or your company to a friend or family member? on a scale of 1 to 10. And if the customer gives us a 9 or a 10, we know we're doing pretty good. If they give us a 6, 7, or 8, not so great. Anything below that, terrible, right? You know you've really messed up. So we're constantly looking at that number, and we're constantly striving to improve that number. And we do this by product category. We have product categories that are just off the roof. I mean, they're in through the roof in terms of what's called the Net Promoter Score, which is that number I just shared with you, where we're in the category of the Zappos or the Apples, which have the highest Net Promoter Scores in their class. So very, very important that you provide great customer support so that you can then take advantage of the promised land, which is the back-end revenue. And fully 30 to 50%, depending on the day, of our revenue is going to be back-end revenue. And that's how you scale a business. So the final thing of this blueprint, and I've got some important things to share after, is what I call putting it on autopilot. And by that I mean not just, pressing the button and leaving, but having systems in place, having key management personnel in place that would enable you to do what I did when I went with my wife to Europe and then left the kids with the grandparents and went off for a second honeymoon again, right, to Norway. That is, the ability to do that is because we have systems, we have partners that are taking care of things, we have software as service solutions so that the tech is not having to be babysitted all 24/7 by our own personnel. A lot of these things just take care of themselves so that we have more time freedom and location freedom. And that's what it's all about. That's what I mean by autopilot. And that's what is going to lead you to that promised land of the Fiesta here at the end. So this sounds great, okay, but I'd like to drill into some things that you don't want to do, some big mistakes that you want to avoid. By avoiding these mistakes, I'm going to save you a lot of heartache, a lot of trouble, and a lot of money. Okay, so mistake number one. I'm going to take a quick swig of water here. Let me just check in. Wow, so the number of people on the call went up. So I'm going to check in here. What do you guys think so far? You guys with me? I see some questions coming in. That's great. We're also going to look at your questions here at the end and follow up. So you guys still there? Okay, great, excellent. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Amazing. Yes, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Mark, Lana. Thank you so much. Perfect. Excellent. All right, so let's get to the mistake number one. And I touched on this before. I'm going to go into a little more detail. Is you go to your contract manufacturer and you say, yeah, give me some of that Garcinia. I was watching Dr. Oz the other day, and he just talked about this new ingredient, and this is the hottest thing for weight loss. I better launch a product with this. And I call it the Dr. Oz flavor of the week. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of people are going to wind up buying that ingredient. But I tell you what, that is not the way we went about selecting ingredients for our products. We did not say what's hot, what's popular right now, so that we can put that in our product and put it out to market. In fact, we went a different way. We selected very ingredients that were backed by human clinical studies that had very promising studies that had not broken out yet, that were not in the mainstream, and would allow us to have some differentiation. So that was number one, and that's a very different sort of zagging when everyone else is zigging. So differentiation. The other thing is we selected more than one ingredient to put into our products. We created a more complex formula of, in fact, our weight loss formula has 3 ingredients that are all backed by human clinical studies and all work in different ways to assist with weight loss. Now, that's more expensive. And in fact, our product is probably 3 to 4 times more expensive than other weight loss supplements that you get, that are single ingredient formulas. So when you go to your manufacturer, they'll say, well, I can name that tune in $3. $3 a bottle at quantity. Well, if you look at our product, it's more like 10 or 11 bucks in quantity. And that's because we went to the conferences, we talked to the manufacturers, we talked to the formulators, and we took the time to select unique ingredients that were backed by human clinical studies. So very, very important. And we selected more than one ingredient to create a formula that, rather than, okay, if Garcinia or a green coffee is no longer the hot ingredient, We're impervious to that because people are trying to jump onto the next bandwagon. That was one big thing. Okay, so write that one down. And then the other thing is low quality product. By low quality, I mean you might think that you're going to a reputable manufacturer and they'll say, well, okay, you want green coffee in your diet formula. I can get this green coffee for, I'm throwing out a number, $25 a kilogram. Everything's quoted in kilogram prices. But you know that the branded ingredient for green coffee, the one that actually has the science behind it, is $200 a kilogram. You see the difference? So you might want to jump on that cheap Chinese green coffee extract that's from China, as opposed to the $200 a kilogram product that's tested and proven in human clinical studies, but maybe from Madagascar. And unfortunately, time and time again, low quality product or low quality ingredients are selected over the real thing. Okay, it's like Coke. It's you want the real thing in this case. So very, very important that you don't make these two mistakes. Make sure you're differentiating yourselves, and that's why a product like ours, when we put products to market, have such a longevity to them. We are not constantly having to reinvent a new formula to go and address the market. We've been selling these products for years now. So, and then the other thing is making sure that you select the best ingredients possible. So mistake number 2, if you make the right decisions, you're not going to need to depend on hype-based selling. Losers are the ones that are going to have to get on the megaphone and just start, telling stories and making, I hate to say, overstating claims, not making claims that are substantiated by human clinical studies. So they rely on hype-based selling. Winners are the ones that have ethical marketing systems. They have high-quality products with research-backed ingredients, and they don't have to leverage hype-based selling in order to get the job done. So that, and then they start piling on the testimonials, the real anecdotal evidence, and and their reputation in the industry starts to blossom. In our case, we have such a great reputation. I think we have now, 200,000 fans on our Facebook fan page. We have, we're a BBB A-rated company without even being an accredited company. If you check the reputation on us, people are saying great things about Real Dose. It's because we take such great care of our customers, and we let that speak for itself, and it makes it much easier for people to do their research. Because you know what? I bet you as a consumer do research on products before you buy them. Yes, they do it in the dietary supplement space. So then you have to rely less on hype-based selling. So very, very important is to not make that mistake, specifically when it comes to making unsubstantiated claims that could get you in trouble with the regulatory bodies. And mistake number 3, I talked about this briefly before, and this is a person that just does not like how they're being treated. I call this the customer unfriendly business practices. This is doing things like offering a free trial and then throwing them into a forced continuity where they're getting rebilled, $80 a month for a product that you're spending $3 a month for, low quality product. Business practices where they're calling to ask for a refund, and you're saying, well, I'll be happy to issue you a refund. Maybe you're doing a save script and saying, well, you don't have to return the product if you let us keep half your money or something like that. Crazy things that make the customer scratch their head and say, I want to get off the phone with this person. I want to lodge a complaint with the BBB, and I will never buy from them again. And to add insult to injury, I'm going to let 10 of my friends know that you should never buy product from this company. That's a huge mistake, because in the long run, you're going to be in that loser column with that other colleague that I referenced that is more focused on keeping the money than taking care of the customer. And that's a big thing. And this is what enables us, 3 years after launching Real Dose, to continue to have such great, loyal, happy customers that buy from us again and again. So this leads to what I call the success triad. This is what equals success in the online dietary supplement business. It's a great product, starting with the end in mind and the great experience that you want to provide the customer, backed by incredible support. I call this the Apple Zappos philosophy when it comes to supporting people. is that the customer is always right. You take care of the customer. They want their money back. You give it to them. You give them, if the product didn't arrive, you ship them another one. You do what you fall over yourself to make sure they're taken care of. And then you promote those products using ethical marketing systems. That means you make substantiated claims, that you the messages you're putting out there are backed by human clinical studies, and you're not doing anything over the top. Okay, and that's going to enable you to have a long-term success in this space and allow you to hit the kind of numbers that I'm talking about. So, with that being said, I'd like to share with you a trick. We'll call it a trick because people love tricks. So for your next trick, Buck's going to perform a way, because I figure you might want to have. I talked more about philosophy, and these are $1,000,000 philosophies that I just shared with you. And I'm hoping that you wrote them all down. But I'm going to talk about now some tactics, some boots on the ground technique that you can use to identify what I call the house is on fire hot market. And by that I mean, this is something you really want to write down, because a lot of people make this mistake. There are two ways to approach selecting a market. One is selecting a market that you know people should have the product, and it can help prevent a problem, such as I can prevent a heart attack, or I can prevent mental decline, or I can prevent macular degeneration. Then you have the products that specifically are designed to address the fact that somebody has a problem. I'm overweight. I have high blood cholesterol. I have high blood pressure. My vision is going, whatever it is. That is what I call the house is on fire market. And that's the market that you want to address. Okay. You have to be careful about how you do it so you don't run afoul with the regulatory bodies like the FTC and the FDA. But I tell you, people will do much more to address a house is on fire issue than to deal with prevention. Okay, so write that one down. Very, very important as to how you go about selecting a market. But this is my trick for, and it's one of the things I do love Amazon for. Again, I would not recommend building your business around Amazon or eBay or any channel in particular. I would treat Amazon as a potential sales channel for you, but not the only sales channel. But the thing I do like about Amazon is that it's a wealth of data. There's a wealth of information inside of Amazon that can help you make decisions. So what I've done is I've gone to Amazon.com, and I have in the books section, they actually break down their books by category. So in this case, I'm seeing that under books, they have a health, fitness, and dieting super category. And then underneath there, they have a subcategory called diseases and physical ailments, which has 83,156 titles just in that particular subcategory. Now, what's interesting here is that they've broken diets and weight loss into its own subcategory, which means that's huge in and of itself, right? And a lot of people will jump right into diet and weight loss with 41,533 titles. But I'm going to zoom into diseases and physical ailments because I'm curious now. There's that many titles. There must be, some ranking amongst those different conditions. So I click on that. And I get a whole set of disease conditions that there are titles that are written about. And I notice as I scan through this that infertility, almost by a wide margin, has more titles on that topic than just about anything else. 6,599 titles on infertility alone. And I don't see anything close next to it. So this, I can actually stop here because I know there are a lot of people out there that are having a difficult time having a baby. That, is that a prevention problem or is that a house is on fire problem? Well, I tell you, for those couples, the house is on fire. They really want to have a kid. So very interesting. And there's 6,599 solutions out there in the book space that are trying to address that issue. So the next step in this process, and I call this my 3-step winners process to selecting a hot market. I don't even have to drill into this category for the next step. My next step is to figure out, and again, this is that counterintuitive thing, is to figure out, is this market, are there competitors that are successfully selling into this market? Because I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, Buck, well, gee, you must have, it must be really competitive in there in the markets in diet or in fish oil or in the other markets that you're in. Man, that must be really tough. And I'd say yes and no, because if you're going to go into a market, you want to make sure there's a lot of people with the problem. And I'm seeing that here, I'm witnessing that here by looking at the titles being written about infertility. And you want to make sure, number two, as I said before, there are competitors that are succeeding. There's a saying that says that pioneers get slaughtered. For every pioneer out there that books get written about, and you see them in the history books, there's probably 100 or 1,000 others that were killed along the way that you never heard about. So I do not recommend that you try to invent your own new market just because you think there's an opportunity there. Go where other people are successfully selling, and that's my method. Again, I would write that one down. So what I would do in this step is just head over to Google. Notice that none of the tools that I'm recommending here cost you a dime. I'd head over to Google and I would say, okay, type in infertility supplement. Boom. What just came up? Wow. Well, there are 5 options right here from the Google shopping search results. I've got Pregnitude Reproductive at a $40 ticket with 38 5-star reviews. I've got Fertilade Value Pack, $55 ticket. I've got a male fertility supplement, $65 ticket. And I've got a Fertinatal 1 pack for $75 ticket. Tells me 2 things. I can already see 5 different options available just right off the top, 5 different competitors, pretty high ticket values for street price for these supplements, which is fantastic news because that means that there's probably good margins in these markets. And, people are successfully or appear to be successfully selling into that market. So this is in 3 easy steps, one using Amazon, one using Google, I was able to validate a potential market that I might want to get into and start looking at potentially formulating a product to address that market. So I hope you really enjoyed that process. I promised Buck's 3-step process to success. And remember, the big takeaways being you want to select something where the house is on fire. You want to make sure that there's a lot of solutions available for it, or people are looking for solutions, and that there are competitors that are successfully selling into that market in a big way. So let me switch gears here for a moment and talk about another reason why Real Dose and I have been so successful over the years. And that is I have always sought Sherpas. People, we watched this great show on Netflix, my wife and I, called Everest. And I can tell you, no one goes to Mount Everest and says, you know what, I don't need a Sherpa. I'm just going to head up to base camp and head up to the summit myself. No one ever does that. You know why? You're going to get killed. Guaranteed before they even make it to the first base camp. So why would, if you're looking to embark on getting into the dietary supplement business, why wouldn't you have a Sherpa? Because for you, getting killed might be losing all your money, not having any success, getting frustrated, moving on to something yet something else that you might think work. So for me, I've always used Sherpas or guides. And I've hired Sherpas in these areas, and I continue to do so to this day, in the areas of formulation, packaging, customer care, writing ethical health copy. Now, the beauty here is back 8 years ago, I hired the #1 copywriter on the planet, Gary Halbert. He wrote my first sales letter. He said, send me a big check. I did. He wrote the copy for me. But, for Real Dose, I actually, along with the help of my partners, I wrote the sales copy for that. I actually, through hiring Sherpas and getting information that I needed to do it right, I was able to write a very powerful message without being a super duper copywriter. And it was sold tens of millions of dollars of product as a result of doing that. So I got the training on how to do that, and that's a way that you can save money and be very effective. Getting education around online traffic systems, as well as making sure that you're staying in the good graces of the regulatory agencies and the customers that you're selling to, as well as technology. Now, I do have, I've hired web dev people and I've hired experts in this area, but I've also hired experts that have steered me towards those low-cost pay-as-you-go software as service technologies that I talked about. And then I also hire experts to help me with sales funnels. So I've invested literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in these areas to provide me the guidance that I need to get to that, have the treasure map and get to that that treasure where the X is on this map. And that's what winners do. That's what, winners don't take shortcuts. They get the help that they need to be successful. So with that, I would like to say, I know I'm sharing some things that might make it sound like, oh, this is a board game. It must be really easy. It's super simple. Well, some things are much, much easier and lower cost and lower risk than they were 8 years ago than when I got in this business. But I tell you what, there ain't no tooth fairy. There's no magical fairy that's going to come in, wave her magic wand, and instantly give you an 8-figure business, overnight. That's not going to happen. So if you came to this call thinking that, gee, Buck's going to tell me exactly what I need to do, and I'm going to be able to instantly have a $0 to $10 million business without putting any work in, without putting any effort and taking the time, then you're in the wrong place. This is not for you. But if you're in a frame of mind that you want to help large numbers of people, and in doing so provide a great experience, and as a result have the benefits of having a scalable business that is doing a lot of good things in the right way, and then as a result allows you to live the kind of lifestyle that I talk about, where I can have time and location freedom. I can run the business from Lithuania or Europe, wherever I am for months on end, and have it be completely virtual. And I'm willing to put in the elbow grease to get there. Then this could be something that getting into this online dietary supplement space could be for you. So if you're in that, what I would call the winners column, then I have put together a way to continue the dialogue with me. And if you have a way that I could be your Sherpa in helping you be successful in this space. And the way I've done that is put together a 6-week intensive coaching program that I'm dubbing the Health Profits Academy 6-week online intensive coaching program. It's getting back to the first thing that I talked about, which is how can I, A, make a difference, B, get more companies in this space that are doing it the right way that I can partner with, and B, thereby also help the industry so that it's much easier for all of us to advertise on the networks that think that, that really there are a bunch of scam players out there. This is my sort of mouthpiece to do this. And so I've decided to put together for the right folks a 6-week program that includes weekly online training sessions that cover everything that you need to know about getting into the online dietary supplement space. Product research, the virtual team, getting the products formulated and manufactured using the techniques that I mentioned, the software as service technologies and the low-cost technologies that you can use to get into the business, setting up successful marketing systems, ethical marketing systems to promote your products, making sure that you're completely impervious to litigation issues from regulatory and civil, getting the product into people's hands quickly and at the lowest cost possible, having world-class customer support, how to hire people for literally pennies on the dollar, and providing the kind of support systems that companies like Apple and Zappos provide. The traffic systems, and again, this isn't about building a business around one channel. This is about building a business that has multiple pillars of traffic so that you're successful and can weather any kind of storms that might occur, or changes in rules that just happen, for example, on Amazon. And the back end, the promised land. How do you get back end revenue? How do you get people to buy from you again and again and again? And then, as I talked about, giving you setting up the systems and the documented systems and procedures so that you have virtual staff and these things can run themselves and be managed without you having to be in the business constantly. So those will be covered during online live coaching sessions with me once a week for 6 weeks. In addition to that, I'm going to make myself available to answer questions. So I'm going to have additional weekly live Q&A calls where you'll have live access to me, where you can get all your questions answered in an unprecedented format, with someone that has been there and done that and built an 8-figure business. And I can tell you, they're already, I've spoken to a number of friends. We have a number of ringers, what I would call very successful health business owners that are going to be right there beside you, asking questions and getting their questions answered at the same time. And that way, nothing's left to chance. You have all your questions answered. You know exactly the roadmap that you need to take to be successful. And you'll also get real-time feedback as you're working on your business. So as you're starting to implement the things that we're covering in the coaching, you'll know exactly what how to avoid the manholes. And we'll probably have some surprise drop-in guests, what I would call you probably have heard about 25K masterminds and these you probably fantasized about, in some cases, being a part of these groups of people that are like-minded and that are having success. Well, I mastermind with a lot of these guys, and we're going to have them drop in and be guests on the Q&A calls, so that we can call this a mini mastermind that would be part of the Q&A call format. So in addition to that, I decided that there's some very important extras that you need in order to be successful. One is, over the 8 years, I have built up a incredibly valuable partner Rolodex. This is what I call my success black book. These are my go-to people that I use for manufacturing, fulfillment, for reviewing of my copy. The key contacts that I rely on, so that you're not going to the wrong players and the wrong formulators, the wrong manufacturers, the wrong fulfillment houses. You can go straight to the ones that can help you be successful right out the gate. And the value of that is, I wish to God that I'd had that 8 years ago. In addition to that, if you can't make the live calls, the training sessions and the Q&A, then we'll set up a private member area that everything is going to be recorded. Everything is going to be in the private member area, available for you to go back to again and again as a resource for you. And because you're on the call right now, and I'm flabbergasted, because everyone that started on the call, almost everyone is here still on the call with us, and I think that's a testimony to people getting great content out of this session. I'm going to make a couple of fast mover bonuses available. If you're one of the first 10 to register, I'm going to make myself available for a private one-on-one consultation with me. That's a $2,000 value, where we can just sit down and talk about your business and help you with strategy or help you with implementation. Whatever it is you want to cover, you'll have a private access to me for 1 hour. That's a $2,000 value. And for the first 20 people that register for this, I'm going to give them a free ticket to a 3-day Health Profits live event that I'm holding here in Boulder, Colorado on January 23rd through the 25th. The last time I held a live event, it was $8,000 a ticket. And the caliber of people that were there, the caliber of presenters, the caliber of people in the audience was unprecedented. And the opportunities that you would have from a network, just a networking standpoint alone, are profound. So you'll everyone, the first 20 people that register will get one free ticket to that event. If you can't, for some reason, make the event, then we can maybe work. I will be recording it. We can potentially make a copy of the DVDs available for folks that can't make the event, if you're one of the first 20 that register. So let's summarize it, and let me kind of just give you a quick stack of what's in there. Number one, you get the 6 weekly live online training sessions. That's a $5,000 value minimum. You get the 6 weekly live Q&A calls, access to Buck, get all your questions answered. That's another $5K minimum value. I can't put a price tag on my supplier Rolodex, so I didn't. But that, as you can imagine, everyone wants to get their hands on that. The membership area alone is going to have a lot of bonus material and access to additional content over and above what you get in the weekly sessions. That's a $35.40 value. And then for the fast mover bonus folks, $2,000 value for the 1 hour consulting with myself, and then an $8,000 value for the ticket to the 3-day Health Profits Live event. So the total value is $23,000, $23,540. The tuition for this event is going to be $3,999. So the last time I did this was at $8,000 just for the live event alone. So this is less than half of what I charged for the last time I did this 6 years ago, $39.99. With that being said, Gauhir and I had a conversation. And the one thing that really struck me was that Gauher admitted to me that he and his partners are already modeling what we've done at Real Dose. So I know Gauher's going to be watching very closely with what we're doing with the 6-week intensive. And so what I've decided to do, because I know that he has a number of folks that are also interested in the dietary supplement business, is to do something unprecedented. I'm going to cut that tuition down from $39.99 and provide a Friends of Gauher discount of $1,000 that will take the tuition down to $29.99, good through Sunday. I know we're sitting here; it's a holiday week, so I'm going to give you guys time to take advantage of that special. But of course, the fast mover bonuses are going to go fast. So if you're interested in those, which have an incredible value, I would move now. But if you're interested in doing that, whoops, make sure that I didn't hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. Then you're going to want to go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC, which stands for Gauher Chaudhry. So at healthprofitsacademy.com/GC, you will have all the information about the program and an opportunity to invest in the tuition for this program at that $29.99 special. I will keep that up through Sunday, and if you're interested in taking advantage of the fast mover bonuses, I will let you know immediately if you're one of the lucky few that gets that. But one of the questions that would come up is, look, I want to practice what I preach, and that is customer-friendly business practices. And in doing so, I want to extend you a better than money back guarantee. My mission in this is to have a set of companies that are practicing the same kinds of business practices that we are, putting out high quality products and marketing them with ethical business practices. It's not about how can I get money from you. It's about how can we build a better, stronger community in the online dietary supplement space. And selfishly, by having those companies available, I will have more partners, more companies that I feel good about promoting on the back end to my customer base. Okay. And the only way I can do that is to have people that are serious enough to take action and do something with my training. But with regards to the money back guarantee, what I'm offering is for you to attend the training all the way through the very last day of the course. If you don't feel that you have you're walking tall, you've got the skills, the tools, the connections that you need to build a successful online health business, then I will cheerfully refund every penny of your tuition, and I'll kick in an extra $100 for your trouble. So that's what I call my better than money back guarantee. I want to make sure that you're absolutely thrilled with what you get out of this training. Okay, so all you need to do is go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC, that's for Gauher Chaudhry, and you'll get all the details about that. So I'm flabbergasted because I have so many people still on the line, which is fantastic because I mentioned that we're going to have a Q&A session. So why don't we do that? And then let's see. Gauher, are you still on the line with me?
Yeah, Buck, I'm here.
Okay,
Funny,
man.
man. I've known you for 5 years, and you still say my name wrong. I should slap you.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Okay.
It's Gauher, man.
Gauher.
Don't worry. I've known guys for 13 years who still can't say it right, but
I'm fired.
no, that was a great presentation, Buck. I mean, you really kind of laid out the foundation for people who want to get into the health business, and really, Real Dose is a company that we're modeling, one of the companies that we're modeling off of. But most people don't know, Buck, that there are, and I think you're being modest here, is that you never told anybody that there are companies out there doing well over $100 million
Yes.
a year that have actually modeled off of Real Dose.
That's true. I try not to brag, so I let you brag for me.
So the thing that really kind of struck me, Buck, was how you talked about having a marketing Sherpa, and I don't think that anybody should really go into this business with at least having some sort of guide. Now that Buck has been in this business for the last 8 years, he's probably one of the very few qualified people to really teach you how to get into the health supplements business. Not only from a logistics point of view, legal point of view, but building a company. Because there's a lot involved when it comes to building a company. And like I had mentioned on earlier when I introduced Buck, that we've started our own health and wellness company. We've actually gone from a $1,000 bootstrap budget that we started with to 10 employees today, 10 months later,
Wow.
and just getting Buck's insight that he's willing to give through his Health Academy course on how to effectively run a company, because there's work involved, and anytime you're talking millions and millions of dollars and building a multi-million dollar business, there's work involved. I mean, there's the legal compliance, there's the inventory management, there's the accounting, and then there's the whole big picture of where do you see the company in a year.
Yep.
And do you really want to kind of be trying to figure that out all on your own? Or do you want to be with a guy who's been there, done that, and kind of over the 6 weeks guide you through everything that you want to know? And it was interesting, once again, Buck is being modest. To be honest with you, and I'm being completely transparent with you guys, before we came onto this webinar, I spoke to Buck about 4 or 5 days ago. And I said, Buck, I have $1 million question for you. And he said, well, what does that go, her? And I said, why are you offering this training for so cheap?
Yep.
For a discounted price of $2,999. Now, I know many of you might be sitting there letting out a gasp saying, that ain't cheap, that's a lot of money, and I understand for a lot of you, yes, that is a lot of money. But you kind of have to understand what you're getting here. You're getting Buck's experience on how to build a multi-million dollar business. I mean, if you go out and probably, what is the cheapest franchise out there, Buck? Probably about 30, 40 grand you're probably going to have to invest.
I thought they were over 100K for anything of value.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Anything of value is probably over 100K.
Sure.
A little bit more on the cheap side for a franchise, you're looking at 30, 40K investment. But, you know, on a $2,999 budget, you're getting a blueprint to running a multi-million dollar diet business. And the fact that you get access to some of Buck's contacts and Rolodex, that itself would easily pay for the investment. And Buck is right. I'm definitely excited about going through Health Academy, because I know that, you know, like I said, I'd been stalking Buck. I hadn't been consulting with him or anything like that. So now, you know, it's kind of opening up the Pandora's box. Buck is doing this by, you know, opening up his, and I know you offered this previously for $10,000 years ago.
Right.
You know, things have evolved now. He's giving you a kind of a 2014, 2015 blueprint of how to launch.
It's been 6 years. I mean, 6 internet years, right, is like 100 years in normal life.
Well, I mean, things are changing extremely fast. I mean, you know, to tap into Buck and say, hey, Buck, you know, what shopping cart better, what would integrate with my fulfillment house the best? Mm-hmm. I mean, that type of information, do you really want to go through multiple shopping carts to figure out which one is the best to integrate with your fulfillment center and all? No, I mean, Buck has been there, he's done that, so
Yep.
I would go that route. So Buck, I'll let you take it away with the Q&A.
Thanks, Goher. So I've got some questions here. I'm going to make sure that everyone, and wow, I'm seeing that a number of people have already, because they're chiming in here, that they've already signed up and asking about the fast mover bonuses. And I think one person said they haven't received a receipt yet. Be patient. I think might take a few minutes for the email receipt to get sent out. So fantastic. Well, let's start with the questions. So I've got here, how big of a virtual team do I need? And that's a great one. Goher just mentioned that he's got 10 people now. The beauty is, because of the software as service platforms, many of the things that used to require personnel can be outsourced via these platforms. So I mentioned the shopping cart, the customer service platform or CRM system, the fulfillment center, the customer support or help desk software. So that minimizes the number of folks that you could run the business on. And many of these personnel can also be part-time. They can be project-based or part-time folks. So for example, there are some design elements or getting the website set up that is more of a project-based thing that you can go and put out onto a place like Elance, which is what I did when I first started the business, but I still use platforms like that to go and find freelance people to build out a website, and you can do that on a project basis. That's not a full-time personnel. That's actually just a part-time resource to go and do the design work, maybe help you with the initial web setup of your website and get your basic look and feel and technology set up. The full-time folks, or maybe for us it's really part-time, you might need start with one customer support agent, and that support agent, you don't have to support a phone a toll-free number out the gate, you can provide online chat and email support, which is highly recommended, and that could be an agent in the Philippines. We're paying between $500 and $600 a month for Filipino customer support agents, and that do a fantastic job. So I would say a customer support person, a part-time web developer or webmaster, and that does not have to be a full-time resource. A part-time designer, and that can be project-based. It doesn't even have to be part-time. And some of the things that you would get started with in terms of the media buying, I would recommend having you learn the basics of doing those initially, buying the media online. I know that Goher is an expert when it comes to PPC. He rolls up his sleeves and does things from a PPC standpoint. I've rolled up my sleeves and I bought my initial media myself. A lot of things you're going to want to learn how to do on your own first before you hand them off and hire somebody full time. So I would say probably 3 or 4 people, but some of those virtual resources would be part-time or project-based. So that would keep your costs very, very low. As we start to expand it, then you're looking at our biggest organization is our care department, because we made a conscious decision to support people answering the phones, more people on the online chat, and more people handling email, because we were scaling. We were having thousands of customers come in every month. We have hundreds of thousands of customers. As I mentioned, we just hit 300,000, our 300,000th paying customer just 2 weeks ago. So that's where it gets fun, because you're starting to invest in additional headcount. We're probably in the 30 people range right now at the scale where we are now, but many of those are those offshore resources. In fact, the majority of them are offshore resources, so it keeps the cost very, very low. So that's that question. Let's move on to, let's see. Someone's asking here, this is a good one. Where do you research the components and the dosing of the components? And then how do you know if they have synergistic effect, etc.? So that's a great question. Part of my $1 million VIP Rolodex is the formulators that we work with. Sometimes those formulators are actually part of the contract manufacturers that I work with, the top tier, top shelf. Sometimes you can actually find formulators that work independently of the contract manufacturers, and they can help you with making sure that you're not only selecting novel ingredients, but you're selecting ingredients that don't have contraindications, that they don't interact with one another, and also are potentially up and comers. These are ones that haven't broken out. They've not been featured on the Dr. Oz show, and they have very, very exciting human clinical studies backing them up. And so that's who we lean on. We have, again, as part of our part-time or project-based staff, are people that can help us with formulations, not only identifying ingredients, but putting the ingredients together and making sure that the dosage is correct. And then we also have a science advisor that reviews everything in terms of the making sure the formulation is safe. That's a separate person from the formulator. And that science advisor also has some capabilities when it comes to making sure that we're not making any over-the-top claims, health claims, that everything that we're doing is substantiated. So that's very important. And again, you can do it very cost effectively, because you're doing this on a pay-as-you-go basis. One person. By the way, I promised that link to the book, the ebook, the Instant Health Copywriting Genius. That's a great one. It's on the page that I just sent you to for the offer. So if you go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC, scroll down to the bottom in the lower right corner in the footer of that page is the link to the Instant Health Copywriting Genius book. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you. Duh. When does the 6-week session start? Okay, so we're heading into the holidays right now. So the way I've structured this is that the first live training session is going to be on Tuesday, January the 6th. But between now and then, we're going to have have at least 2 pre-flight training sessions scheduled between now and the official start of training on January 6th. So That way I know everyone's chomping at the bit, excited, ready to get going, and we can take care of some things and maybe get some questions answered and get some initial orientation training and start getting you going on the path towards building your business. But the official training starts on January the 6th. That's a Tuesday. We're going to have the training session on Tuesdays. Right now they're scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to have the Q&A session scheduled on Thursdays, again at 1 p.m. Eastern. Everything is going to be recorded. If you can't make the call, don't worry, we'll get that recorded. We will have follow-ups so that people can also get their questions answered in a format offline, if you will. And as I mentioned, the live event is being held here in Boulder. If you're one of the 20 lucky people that make it, and I tell you, this is one of the things that I have benefited from so much over the years, is getting out and meeting with people, other entrepreneurs that are building their health businesses, and meeting with the partners that I would be working with, the formulators, the fulfillment houses, the legal teams, the people that know how to do marketing and media buying. That it becomes very, very valuable for me. So that event is January 23rd through the 25th in Boulder, Colorado. We've got the event all booked, and we've got a limited number of seats, which is why I only made 20 seats available at that event. So go here. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Buck. I almost forgot
Yes, sir.
to mention the bonus that I'm offering
Oh, okay. Yes, please.
for everybody. Now, just before I do that, I want to be completely honest here because I see a lot of people signing up right now. That this has nothing to do with going out, sourcing a cheap supplement from China, sticking it up on a CPA network, and then trying to recruit a whole bunch of people to create fake blogs or fake articles. Okay?
Yes.
If that's what you're interested in doing, this is not the program for you. Okay? This program is about building a real business and building basically a brand. Because if you look at any of these big companies out in the world, they're really worth what they are because of the brand. And it was interesting, Buck, because I don't know if you've ever read the book written by Howard Schultz for Starbucks, how he first started.
Mm-hmm.
He went out to go. He didn't go out to. He initially had gone out to go create coffee shops, and at the end of the book, he talks about it. Never in a million years did I imagine that I would go out. My intention was to go out and build coffee shops, but I actually built a brand that is eventually sellable. And obviously, when we started this business, the health and wellness business, we all have an exit strategy in place. You're not going to be able to sell a business that's being driven by rogue affiliates and has the FTC breathing down your neck,
Right.
And you're offering inferior products. So for those of you who, I'm seeing dozens of people have ordered now, that be careful that we're teaching you how to build a real business. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to think that this is something that that you can just kind of throw up and hope to make a lot of money. This is about building a business that adds value, because I'm a high proponent of, if you create the value, the money's going to follow shortly after that. So with that being said, because I've been doing this now for a little bit over a year, by no means am I saying I'm an expert like Buck. But one thing is, and I know that a lot of you are saying, well, what kind of team do I need to have? Believe it or not, when we started our health and wellness business, there's only the three of us. I was driving the traffic, doing the financials, doing everything. And like Buck said, you could start off on Bing, you can start off on Google, you can start off on Yahoo. That's all we did. We don't have any affiliates. I drive all of the traffic. Me alone drives all of the traffic to our business. And for those of you who were at my live traffic workshop way back in May, June, you saw some of those screenshots of $50,000, $60,000 a day. Those are typical days for us now, because there's a vast amount of traffic out there that you can easily tap into and drive to your health and wellness business. So with that being said, what the bonus that I'm offering is that once you've gone through Buck's entire course and decided that this is, decided that this was for you and you're happy with it, I'm willing to give 1 hour of my time to consult with you, whether it's questions regarding traffic, whether it's questions regarding inventory management. My bonus is to give you 1 hour, because there's a lot of little questions, Buck, that many people might have, like such as, well, how do I get a merchant account? Because maybe a lot of merchants don't want to
Sure.
deal with health and wellness. But Buck, you gave me a huge light bulb when when we first started. We were taking Amazon checkout,
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is anybody can open up an Amazon checkout account,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. It's just
That
another
or
merchant
even
account.
PayPal. Yeah,
Hmm.
even that or even PayPal. You can initially take if you can initially get a merchant account provider. We stopped taking Amazon checkout because I think Amazon there's a slight delay in getting you your cash. So obviously when you're bootstrapping and you need the cash, working with a merchant account provider is better because they give you the money the next day. But then Buck really opened my eyes to something, and this is kind of the information that you're going to get from Buck, who's been there and done that. They've done all the split testing. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this,
No,
Buck.
please go for it.
But yeah, you did indicate to me that in your split testing, you determined that Amazon checkout converted higher on mobile devices.
Hmm.
And that kind of makes sense because most people don't want to get their credit card out when they're at your sales page when they're viewing it on a phone or a tablet. But if they already have an Amazon account, they can simply log in and check out in their Amazon account, which already has all their credit card information, making it very, very easy for them. That's something that we as a company never thought of. But that is a $1 million piece of advice, Buck, that you relay to me, and that I'm also relaying on this webinar to people is that when you go the mobile route, you don't necessarily have to go through a merchant account provider. You can use Amazon Checkout because you're going to have a higher conversion rate.
Yeah, that was an eye opener for us, Gohar, and we were same issues. We went through some integration issues again because we were early to the game years ago when we first started supporting Pay with Amazon. Now shopping carts are integrated with many of them that we share on this training are integrated with Pay with Amazon, so it makes it much easier to support that. And that's just another option when I check out with my mobile phone or my iPad. I can click the Pay with Amazon. I don't have to have my credit card. I put my username and my password. Boom, and it's a very quick and easy experience. So
I mean,
that's
how easy is that for the customer? You know what I mean?
and once we have Apple Pay, we'll be talking about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a huge opportunity here. I mean, like you said, I mean, internet 6 years in the internet is like dog years. That's how fast things are evolving.
Well, someone just asked a very interesting question, Goher, and that was I know that I offered training. The last time I offered training was at that $8,000 seat. I think the list price was $10,000. Some people got in at $8,000 6 years ago, and someone said, I did that course. Do I need this information? And so much has changed in the last 6 years. Real Dose is only now in its third year of business. And all the techniques, all the tricks, all the tips that we implemented at Real Dose are, much of them are very different than what we went through when I built my first business 8 years ago. So I would say, yes, this information is cutting edge. This is the latest training. This is exactly what I'm going through, and I know Goher and his team are watching as we go through this. Someone's asked me this before. I already have a business. I'm already underway. Could I use this information? Resounding yes. In fact, I have a number of successful entrepreneurs that have health businesses that'll be writing right along with you, and they're looking not only just for the extra edge in building their business, but they want to scale it. They want to know how they can, go to 8 figures and beyond. As Goher mentioned, there's a player out there that is at 9 figures, and having someone that has blazed the trail ahead of you and you're following along is exactly where you want to be. So there is one big question here that's coming up, and I'll cover it with two big questions. One, is there a payment plan? I didn't talk about it on the call here, but if you do go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC, have you gone there yet? Because you want to make sure that you get your bonus first of all in the lower right corner, the copywriting book. But go to that page, and there is a payment plan. So there is a single pay that it's at the discounted price of $29.99, and then there's a 3-pay option. It is more expensive, but if you want the 3-pay option, there's a $11.49 a payment per payment over 3 payments. So big question that keeps coming up is, what is the startup cost? Well, Goher, you just threw out a number of $1,000. I'm not going to say that you can bootstrap your company on a $1,000 investment. I think that your biggest investment is going to be your initial inventory. There are places that you can go and find high quality, differentiated, off the shelf formulas. I wouldn't say just go and get your cheap Garcinia or your cheap green coffee or your cheap raspberry ketones or something like that and try to go after those markets. But there are reputable manufacturers that have other high quality differentiated offerings that they're willing to sell you at a low volume and have you white label them initially, that you can then use that success to scale your business and then move to offering your own unique differentiated formulas with your brand on them. And typically you can get those in volumes as low as 200 to 300 units. So I'm going to say that you should factor in a minimum of a startup investment, including initial inventory and getting some of the tech set up, getting the website set up, etc., and then applying your own elbow grease in a number of the areas that I'll talk about in the training of $5K. So you have a minimum investment of $5K that you should allocate to start this business. And when you compare that to the investments that Goher mentioned about getting into a franchise or any other kind of business, and then the potential of having a very large-scale, successful business that's just humming on autopilot, there's really no other opportunity like this. So that would be the investment side. Goher?
Yeah, let me qualify that. When I said we started up with a $1,000 bootstrap budget, sorry, that I should have qualified. That didn't include inventory.
Okay.
Inventory was probably, like you said, a few $1,000s. But I'll tell you one thing. One of the biggest problems that we did run into bootstrapping for so little was, and I'm sure, Buck, you ran into this issue when you started seeing success. We had serious inventory and cash flow problems. Okay. Our worst nightmare came to life, I think, 2 or 3 times early on, where we were selling out so fast we were out of inventory for weeks. And it's a good problem to have, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of sleepless nights when you're sitting there thinking, oh, man, I could have got all those sales if I just had inventory. So I mean, there's management involved of cash flow and inventory, but I mean, obviously, if you're selling, these are all good problems to have.
The scariest thing, you bring back the memories, and occasionally this happens to us again when we have big promotions. The scariest thing for me was taking that first inventory, putting that into my warehouse, and wondering, how the hell am I going to sell this?
Yeah,
you're like, holy crap, I got to move this, or I'm going to be sitting on this inventory. But the flip side was what Goher just said was, holy smoke, I just got traction. I just blew out my inventory, and now I got to wait 8 weeks for the next round to come in, because the turnaround time on some of these products can take a while. It's not so there is a bit, which we'll talk about in the training, of inventory management, of reorder points and things like that, to make sure that you keep the pipe full or you manage the sales. We've actually had to pull back sales because we did not want to stock out, because stocking out's a bad thing. You have to shut down your marketing. Your customers get frustrated, and we kind of go into that in the training and how to. This is a funny thing to talk about, right? Is, oh, I'm selling too much, and that can happen.
I mean, that's the reality. I mean, if you follow your steps, Buck, about creating a great product to start with, providing exceptional customer service, and most of the people on my list are all paid traffic people, so they know how to generate the traffic.
Right.
You have that type of combination, then yeah, you can have a winning combination. One thing that I wanted to say was that there's very few times that something pretty darn good comes around. And when you were talking, Buck, about the $4,000 event that you attended years and years ago, can I guess that was that John Reese's event?
It wasn't, but I did buy John Reese's course when that first came out.
Yeah.
That was Traffic Secrets. But I actually attended the first Agora Internet Marketing Conference.
Ah, okay. So when you look at courses like Traffic Secrets and courses that follow, it takes usually about 2 to 3 years that there's this big thing that happens, big course that comes out that changes a lot of things. And I think the most recent example was the amazing Selling Machine, which was Jason Katzenbach and Matt Clark's Amazon course, which has gone on to change a lot of lives.
Yes.
And why am I bringing that up? Because what Buck is presenting here with the Health Profits Academy, that is one of those next best type courses out there. You're not going to hear hoopla about it because Buck's not doing this massive launch, but the value that you're going to get from it and the stuff that you're going to learn, I could just already see is going to be well worth the price that he's charging, because it's going to come back 100 times fold if you take this business serious and you execute what Buck is teaching here.
Well, let me make a comment about that, because I know I hope people weren't reading that I was dissing the Amazon channel because I love Amazon, and we, as I mentioned, we're a top tier partner with them on the Pay with Amazon front. They come to us and ask us to test things out for them. We're sort of an early adopter of other technologies they have. So I'm friends with Jason and I know Matt. So I admire what they put together with that opportunity to sell supplements into the Amazon channel. And if you want to sell supplements in Amazon, they're the go-to resource. I see the Health Profits program as a complement to what it is that they're doing, because everything that we've done, we've built outside of Amazon. There's this whole wide world of, as you know, Goher, buying traffic on all the different pay-per-click engines. There's pay-per-click such as Facebook, Google, Bing, native ads. We actually acquire customers through a number of other channels, including radio. So there's a lot of other places that you can go to bring a customer in. And oh, by the way, we have some of our products available on Amazon, and people use that for a couple things. One, some people prefer to buy on Amazon, so they'll do that. They also go and like to look at the reviews on products, and it's just more convenient for them. So,
I mean, Amazon's a great channel, but the reality is it's only one of dozens of distribution channels
yeah,
for your supplements.
exactly. So I want to make sure a couple of these questions are answered. Number one, is this for people living outside the U.S. of A? I can tell you that I have students around the world, and I would recommend, if you're in Singapore, UK, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, somewhere else in Europe, and you want to break into this market, this is the coaching that you need. And because you can run this business virtually from anywhere, it doesn't matter. You do need to know the English language, because I don't speak any other language. I'm American and I only speak English, unfortunately. But I know what I'm talking about. So if you can, if you're okay being educated by an American who knows what he's doing, you can run this business from anywhere. Go her. You're in Toronto, right? So you're in Canada. You can address this market from Canada and do business. I would recommend having products manufactured in the U.S. And fulfilled from the U.S. There's a lot of advantages to doing so, but there are ways, and we're looking into ways. We have a fulfillment center actually in Canada, because it gives us the ability to send products to Canadian customers faster and give them a better experience. But we didn't do that out the gate. Okay, so definitely this is for people that are outside the U.S. The other thing is, let's see, we talked about, does my Rolodex include UK suppliers? I do have UK suppliers. We have not tapped them yet because, as I mentioned, even if you're outside the US, I would recommend that you get your products manufactured either in the U.S. We also have some manufacturing in Canada for a couple of products, because the Canadians do a very, very good job for certain classes of products. And then the other thing is that there are some advantages to go with certain manufacturers in Canada, because they have some of these manufacturers have agreements with Australia and have products approved by the TGA in Australia, which is like the US FDA, and would enable you to send products in quantity and have them fulfilled out of Australia if you want to do that. But most of our products, most of our customers are served from the U.S., and we ship directly worldwide from our U.S. fulfillment center. The other question is interesting, because I like this one. Organic ingredients. Is this a must-have in the supplement market? I wish that people were much more savvy than they are currently. I would say that certainly there is a category of products where having non-GMO organic ingredients is certainly very good. And we strive for that as much as possible, wherever possible, for certain classes of products like powders. We have a red and purple fruit powder that has organic ingredients in it. We strive to having organic ingredients. Sometimes you have novel ingredients that are backed by human clinical studies that have very promising studies, but unfortunately they're not organic. But because they are so effective at what they do, we decide to include them in a formulation and make them available. And of course we don't, we do go for, if at all possible, that they're non-GMO, that they're, kosher and so on. But other than that, we still want to make the formula available, and customers buy those products with both hands. So our diet formula, for example, our weight loss formula, falls into that category. So, the answer is yes and no. We strive, number one, at Real Dose, and I recommend you do the same, that you have ingredients backed up by human clinical studies, or what's called the gold standard of double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies, and that you sell them with ethical marketing systems, that you treat your customers well, and then, if at all possible, if it's possible, make organic ingredients and non-GMO ingredients included in your formulas. Gohar, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, the more, well, not only that, but from a marketing perspective, Buck, that gives you the edge over your competitors. The
Yeah.
better your ingredients, the more you can distinguish yourself from your competitors.
So I think we're kind of wrapping this up. There's one last question here. Can you buy tickets to the live event? I'm not selling tickets to the live event. I have allocated some tickets to folks that are joining me in this journey on the 6-week intensive coaching program. And if I do make tickets available, they're going to be back at that price that I offered 6 years ago, which was $8,000 a seat. So the best way to get a ticket right now, I haven't looked at the numbers yet, Goher, so I don't know if the 20 fast mover bonuses are available. But if they are, I would get into that. Get into the program now at the $29.99 price point that we're making available just for friends of Goher, and go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC. I will let you know if you've earned the fast mover bonus, and if you can make it to the live event, like I said, if you can make it to the live event, I would be there. And Goher, you go to live events, you know how important it is to rub shoulders with birds of a feather, to meet with potential. Whenever Goher, you said you went to Traffic Secrets. Were you at that
No,
event?
I wasn't there, but let me just give you an example, Buck.
Okay.
The multi-million dollar health and wellness business that we're running this all came about from a partner I met at one of the ASM live events.
Okay.
So that kind of just shows you the importance of attending the live events, because some of the caliber of the people that are going to be there.
Yes.
I mean, these are how partnerships are born. I mean, if even by the time, Buck, that your live event comes around, and some of the people are kind of still hasn't taken the full action, it only takes to meet one person who thinks the same way you do to form that partnership and get things off and going.
I absolutely agree, and I tell you, I have partnered with people that were presenters at live events that I've went to by joining their coaching programs. And that has made me millions of dollars. I can tell you right now, in more than one instance, I've gone to live events. I've sought out the speaker or sought out the host. They had things available. So by right now, I'm making this available to you. The way to partner with me, the way to get on my radar, quite frankly, is to be a part of the 6-week online health coaching program. That's how you do it, because that gets you, it elevates you immediately to somebody that I should pay attention to, that I'm going to be invested in and helping you be successful in building up your business. And as I mentioned, I'm looking for quality companies that I can recommend on the back end to my customer base. One person had a great question. I'll answer it here. I do not currently have a skincare product, but the skin obviously is the largest, for many of you, if you don't know this, it's the largest organ on your body. And so the same approach to building a high-quality dietary supplement company would be applied to building a skincare company. And in fact, we're looking at the potential of offering high-quality skincare products to our customers in the future. So is this applicable to somebody who wants to build a skincare business? Absolutely. And I will be covering that both on the 6-week coaching program and on the at the live event. So I tell you what, if we did not cover your questions, because I think we covered all of the frequently asked questions here. If I did not get your question answered, I'm going to go through all the Q&A that's here and make sure that we've covered everyone's question. But I think we covered the frequently asked questions. If there may be still some seats available to the live event and the access to the one-on-one. I know, Goher, you're offering your one-on-one to everyone that invests in the course. Is that right?
Yeah, through my affiliate link, obviously.
Through your affiliate link, okay. So go to healthprofitsacademy.com/GC. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited that so many people are still on the line. I'm pumped about this. Like I said, we're going to have some pre-flight training that will be starting up between now and the official launch on January the 6th. So there's going to be plenty of things to do. I know that everyone's thinking about Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Cyber Monday and the holidays and all that kind of stuff. But I still want to get some training, some pre-flight in between now and then get everyone really ramped and ready to go for the 6-week starting on Tuesday, January the 6th. So, Goher, thank you so much for holding this session for your folks. I'm really excited about this.
Well, thanks for being here, Buck. Much appreciated.
Fantastic. Well, again, last thing before we go, healthprofitsacademy.com/GC. If you haven't picked up your bonus, at a minimum, go there and pick it up. Check it out. It's in the footer of the page on the lower right corner of that page. And I will, if you've gone ahead and signed up, I will see you on the live coaching program. I look forward to it. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays.